Hello everybody and welcome back to another blind commentary of Samurai Jack Season 1 Episode 12, as per usual. That's the outro. And we are fast approaching the season finale. Second to last episode, as a matter of fact. What will it have in store for us? I have no idea. It's so episodic it's such an episodic format that it's pretty hard to say anything about what the finale will have in store, but it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of episodic show handles the finale. And yeah, I'm hyping up the finale quite a bit because it's often a rather important part of the series, so let's just get on with the show proper. Okay. Now we have seen in the opening I know. I have this tendency to pause like after 15 seconds. But we saw in the opening there were some gangsters being sliced up, and this could very well be the episode in which they are presented, so that's going to be interesting to see whether that's the case.
Welcome to the Blue Monkey.
That posture playing the piano, playing piano at that kind of posture must be rather painful for your neck. Jeez, that must be unhealthy. Well, there's something wrong with his legs. I know it's just an art style. I'm not complaining about that. That looks more hilarious than anything. Okay, I was about to complain. I often have this minor nitpick, and yeah, it's a nitpick, don't take this too seriously, about shows when they show piano playing, and it is so wrong. So damn wrong. But that was actually only the beginning part there was a bit off. But actually, I kind of do appreciate that they at the very least synchronized the movements with the music a bit more to make it a bit more realistic. Still not exactly correct harmonies there, but still, that's closer than most shows. And I know, nitpick, but still, you know. Okay, now that's actually a pretty... Yeah, oh my goodness, I'm pausing so much. But that's a pretty cool technique that's been used quite often in just a lot more classical Western cinema. The fact that you can juxtapose just calm and mellow music with actual intense action to kind of highlight the absurdity of the violence there. And that's actually a pretty cool technique. I mean, the show is pretty keen on using just a lot of cinematography techniques that are just commonly used in movies, but it actually translates them surprisingly well to cartoon form. And that's actually something that I should bring up a bit more, because that's a unique feature of the show that is rarely seen in any other... Well, I wouldn't say any other media, but any other, very rare shows. Very rarely seen in cartoon and animation shows. Mostly because it's kind of odd to do it. But effective when done so properly.
It's alright, you can put him down now.
Actually, oh my god, why do I have so much to say now? But actually this raises quite a lot of good points about how the effective use of stereotypes. Because, yeah, sure, that is a pretty generic mob boss, but hey, it's very self-evident, it's very obvious for anyone who knows anything about, well, you know, classical literature, modern literature, any kind of cinematography, any kind of cinema. You know, anyone who has had contact with modern media knows about this kind of stereotype. And that's a pretty good way to use, this is an effective way to use, just stereotypes as a shorthand way to, you know, skip out on explaining the characters any more deeply and just get on straight with the point. Just, you know, an effective way to just tempo up the episode. I am just talking so freaking much. This should be just
How'd you like to be a member of the most feared gang in the city? Okay, boy, we'll give you a shot.
Also, kind of shows that Jack isn't above using you know, deception and do a bit more unpalatable things for the greater good. That's a rather interesting and neat little character trait.
But you gotta pass a little test first, see? Yeah. You know.
Did I mention about classical cinematography techniques? God damn, that's clever. That's clever.
Pretty cold-blooded, kid. I'm impressed, see? Yeah.
A price must be paid.
Okay. Now,
And she's up.
as I have said, I actually do very much like the fusion of futuristic technology and magical artifacts. That's a pretty cool factor for the show, and hey, I like these kinds of things. It's pretty neat.
The forces of nature to guard it. Earth. Yeah.
Okay.
And fire.
Now, those are West water. Anyway, that's a rather cool combination of just elementals that are, like, they are the typical elements, of course, but they are a bit more unique looking, and that's pretty cool. I kind of like their designs. Mostly though fire, but still.
And so earth, wind, and fire have guarded the jewel.
That's the jewel. Now, just to nitpick here for a moment, couldn't they have, you know, snatched some kind of hook shot, or even a lasso could do it, and just, you know, easily just quickly snatch that and run away? That, I mean, actually, probably the guardian spirits could actually cut that, like, lasso or that wire or whatever, like, easily, so unlikely, but it's just an idea. No. Man, I do keep saying this, like in the previous episodes, like how much it highlighted how freaking great video game this show would make. I need to like really look into that, if there's video games made out of this, because a lot of these episodes are just something that would make so great levels for video games. And although the show's plot is pretty good for the fact that it can be used as a plot contrivance to create such a wide variety of situations, these would be really freaking fun to just play. I need to look into this. Just saying. If a bit stereotypical, but the variety is just so...
Come and get it.
Treasure come into your possession.
Well, it wasn't easy, Master, but we got a little help from our newest member. Come on out, Jackie.
Jackie?
Actually, it's Jack.
What the heck is going on, man?
Before he ain't no more.
It isn't really looking like Jackie is the one who needs saving here.
Castle disappeared. Who knows where it'll pop up next?
I really do like that recreation of the scene, by the way, just like Jackie holding the sword like over Aku like that. Rather reminiscent of their first encounter. Also showed how far Jack has evolved, actually. Like how stronger he has how much stronger he has
Hey,
become.
what's all this about anyway? You got some kind of death wish or something?
No, you don't understand.
I don't trust that, but okay.
Yeah, I think we will too. Sucker.
Step right up, get your water right here only. 500 smackers per ounce.
No, well, okay then. I mean, that could have been worse, but okay. then I really need to look into what kind of video games have been made out of this series, because yeah, this would make a fantastic game. And I do keep repeating that because it is absolutely true. But yeah, I actually do kind of like this episode. We were introduced to a few new characters, and it's, even though they were rather two-dimensional, it's still, they served their purpose quite fine, and it was fun enough. And that actually went by surprisingly fast, because we had like just 3 freaking great like fight scenes. Now, yeah, it certainly doesn't feel like this was a season finale, because it's not, but it's certainly had a very good build up to that, and we had already a confrontation between Aku and Jack, which kind of showcased how much stronger Jack has become since the first episodes, which does make sense considering how much fighting he has done. And we had freaking great fight scenes as well. And actually that showed quite a lot of creativity on the team's part, as per usual, which is the fact that they do take full advantage of the fact that they can just bend the rules and limitations of the genre to actually, or rather the story allows them to bend the tropes quite a bit and just mix and meld them together as they wish. What I'm saying here is the combination of gangsters and mystical elements was actually pretty freaking neat. If a tad bit like not fully utilized, because, you know, time limits and all that, I didn't even realize how fast the episode went by, and that is just a freaking great mark for the show, because that's a sign of freaking great pacing, because just it had a freaking great flow from one scene to another in this episode. Although that might be because they had 3 action scenes, and those were all interlaced with really good build-ups to the next action scene. And yeah, even though the last 2 action scenes were pretty back-to-back, but still, it's quite fantastic. I actually really do enjoy it. Like, this also showcases quite a lot of, like, this show has so many good qualities to it. Not only its camera work and cinematography techniques are something that are just top-notch, and something that's rarely seen in cartoons and animation, and just in general in any other media than films, because it's kind of hard to do it properly, and this show certainly does do it quite well. And it showcases also their creativity on the fact that they don't have to limit themselves to any kind of setting, but they can just go wild with what they can combine. As well as they can take just normal traditional storytelling tropes and just twist them into their own little creations and just be creative. Now, I really do like that currently I'm doing 2 shows that are wildly creative with their whole medium, and that's Wonder Over Yonder and Samurai Jack. Both of these are just absolutely fantastical about just being creative. Not to mention Steven Universe is also pretty freaking good on the creativity part on most occasions. So yeah, it's really fantastic to see a lot of similar kinds of elements taken in wildly different styles, although Steven Universe doesn't fit in that, but it's just... What I'm saying here, I love the creativity of the show and how far it can stretch out its credits. It can just be really entertaining and really interesting at the same time, without actually being that unbelievable, because, you know, it doesn't really constrain itself to any stretch of reality. And the fact that it uses very, very cartoony style of... cartoony art style means that it can be widely creative with its visual design as well. And I'm just very fanatical about the series. It's just freaking... It's great. It's really great. I might not be laughing or wowing as much, but that's because the show really is just a solid quality production. It doesn't have any really big lows to it. It has low tension points, that's for sure, but that's because it's pacing more than anything. And it's just... I'm just blabbering. It's just a freaking fantastic production. And I don't know, I'm just really excited to see what the final episode has in store. With that being said, I thank you all very much for watching. I hope to see you in the future. Have a great day and stay awesome. Ganmu, and thank you very much for watching.